Yes, welcome back to On Texas Football, the Friday live stream. Appreciate all you guys joining. We like to call it a Freak Flag Feel Good. Thank you to you. Make it Ric Flair Woo Football Friday edition of the live stream here on Texas Football. I appreciate I'm a little hoarse. I apologize. My Ric Flair.
We've had a long week.
Yeah, it was a little weak because, we had the Texas tour, which was awesome. Thank you guys, everybody who joined us in Austin, in Houston, in Dallas. It was great. Thank you guys for making that a success. Thanks to our friends over at Third and Longhorn as well. All the Texas X's that came out, man, it was fantastic. So I can't say for sure because I haven't talked to Bobby and Jerry and the crew about it yet, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be an annual thing.
Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah, I could jump out on that limb and say it's going to be an annual thing because it was such a great experience for everybody involved. All right, but we are done with talking season, ladies and gentlemen. We are on the verge of actual football season. I know you're tired of us actually talking about, the hypotheticals and predictions and prognostications. This week, we will get to talking a lot about the upcoming opponent for the Longhorns, the Ohio State Buckeyes. We start breaking that down because it is a matchup that's got a lot of layers to it. But of course, on Fridays, the show is always devoted to you, the show of the people, for the people, and by the people. So whatever you guys want to talk about, throw out your questions, comments. We'll try to address as many of them as we can. Super chats always jump to the front of the line. And you can interrupt the show at any time. Just throw out a super chat out there, and we can dive into that topic as well. All right, let me just throw it out there, guys. Getting closer and closer to the Texas-Ohio State matchup. I'm more I say Longhorn fans, and we just got a chance to talk to a lot of them, right? More confident than concerned, I would say, going to that matchup, which is really good. And I feel the same way. What is your concern when you get down the list after all the things you're confident in with Texas going into that matchup? When you get to your first concern after you start checking boxes, Texas got this advantage, that advantage, that advantage. What is the first concern in that matchup, in your opinion?
Maybe not the matchup itself, but O-line health going into the game. Where's Trevor Gooseby going to be at? I don't think we know. So I think that is the big one for me. And Rod, we were talking this morning on Coffee and Football, playing out all the scenarios. Somebody asked about the over-under. Would you hammer the under in a game like this? On the surface, I think the under is a pretty strong play for the when you think about the number. I think it's 47.5, 48.5. By the way, the line's gone down a little bit towards Texas. It was 1.5. I think it's back to 2 now from 2.5. But, you have to first road start for Arch, first start for Julian Sand. Could somebody throw a pick six in this game? I mean, there's a lot of experienced defensive backs in this game going against inexperienced quarterbacks. And, yes, Arch has a ton of experience in the Texas system. Still, this is a first road start. It's a big game against a talent neutralized situation. Is there going to be a big kick return? What's going to happen in this game that's going to change the course of this game that people aren't really taking into account? Because that's really, I think, where this thing may be decided is what is going to happen is a special teams play a punt block, a punt return, a kick return, a kick block, a field goal block goes back for a touchdown, something weird, a pick six. Something's going to happen in this game more than likely, and what's that going to be? And so for me, it's injuries on the offensive line, where are they at, and then nothing catastrophic happens to gift points to Ohio State on the road.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm kind of with you, Jerry, just in terms of I want to go to line of scrimmage. And, we've talked a lot about that Texas defensive front against the Ohio State offensive line. And I feel like there are enough known commodities in both groups that even though they suffered some losses from last year, and there's a lot of NFL talent from both groups that's gone, but I feel like there's enough known commodities for both groups that matchup, to me, almost feels like it's going to be a push. There'll be times where Texas gets pressure and Texas stops the run. There's going to be times where Ohio State can protect the passer and where they can run. The matchup in this game, guys, that makes me nervous is the two unknowns, which we really don't. It's the two rebuilt units. It's the Texas offensive line and the Ohio State defensive line. I've heard a lot of people, and we've done it on the channel, talk about the losses Ohio State suffered with their offensive line. Look at their defense. Well, their defense lost a ton of talent, like Jackson, JTT, all those guys are gone. So when we talk about the Texas offensive line, I think we need to look at it from the perspective of, yeah, they're having to move some pieces around. Ohio State's probably thinking the same thing about their defensive line. Like, they feel good about some guys. They feel like they've got some talent, but a lot of those guys are unproven. A lot of those guys have had to wait their turn. So it's those two groups, the Texas O-line and the Ohio State defensive line, to me, I don't know, Rod, I always get nervous thinking about line of scrimmage in this game and in games like this, period. But those two are the real unknowns for me. And I don't know really what to make of that battle as we sit here 8 days out.
What about you, Rod? Where are you at?
No, it's interesting. I think for me, the big concern would come down to there's a lot of uncertainty about the scheme that Patricia's going to bring in there. The type of play caller Brian Hartline is. We know he's running Ryan Day's offense, and it's going to be essentially a cover version of Ryan Day's offense. Ryan Day will probably assert more control than he had under Chip Kelly, just because, Chip Kelly was a proven commodity, of course. So there's a slight advantage, I think, for Ohio State there. Just in that uncertainty. And even Sark has admitted as much. He talked to Coach Brown about it. And Coach Brown even said, jokingly, but I think he was actually part serious. He's like, you might have to throw out your game plan in the first quarter. And Sark was like, yeah, I realized that. I realized that. I think two of the things that's going to help Sark is recently Sark has gotten enough respectability among fellow coaches where he has even admitted that teams they break tendency against Texas. That they will oftentimes save something special for Texas, whether you're talking about personnel or talking about scheme. All right, they'll save something for Texas that they didn't show in film, and Texas isn't necessarily prepared for. They didn't spend the game week preparing for it. They have to adjust on the fly. They have actually done that probably the last 2 years to Texas. Texas has been seeing a lot more. They started complaining. Remember, he complained about that. Texas last year in the Big 12, he's complaining about. It's like, no, coach, that's respect. That's respect. Don't complain about it. No, that's good. That's good. That's a beautiful thing. That's going to continue to be the case because what do I always say? To win big games, you got to break tendency. And everybody sees Texas as what? It's a big game. I got to break tendency. So I do wonder about that adjustment for Sark. I think he's ready for it. Like I said, I think he's been, evolving into that, from a guy who can actually win the battle of adjustments. But I will say that oftentimes is not Sark's strong suit. He's better in game planning and preparation. He's gotten better in the battle of adjustment. So that little slight advantage there, I wonder how much can Patricia maximize it and keep throwing. Because even Sark has admitted when he doesn't know the rules of a defense, then sometimes it's tougher for him. And I don't know if you're going to know the rules of this Matt Patricia defense because there's obviously not anything on film. Now, he dealt with that also with Wink Martindale in Michigan, and no problemo. I mean, it just made quick work of them. And so maybe the answer is don't make it about Patricia. That Michigan game plan was all about Texas, it seemed like. They avoided the two big, D tackles in the middle pretty much. But everything else, that was pretty much the game plan early on. Like, no, we'll just avoid those guys. Those are the guys we don't feel like we can just win one-on-one against and they can blow up our entire play. And I think and maybe it's Caleb Downs, you just try to avoid this. I was like, we're just going to know what that guy is, and then we're going to adjust off of that. Boom. That's simple. And maybe it's that kind of game plan. Make it more about your identity and what you want to accomplish rather than trying to exploit specific weaknesses that you've identified, tendencies you've identified over time, which you don't have that luxury right now. So I know it's like scheme stuff, but nerdy stuff, but that's what
I agree with you, Rod, because the beauty, Sark, I still think the best sequence of play calling we've seen from Sark in his tenure was the first half of the Michigan game last year. And when you look at the game plan, it was, and this is kind of like Sark did what Greg Davis intended to do, like against UCLA in 2010, but Sark actually did it the right way. Like, we're going to use our speed to our advantage. We're going to hit the perimeter. We're going to use our wide zone run game. We're going to use our speed on the outside. And then when Kenneth Grant and or Mason Graham are out of the game, that's when we're going to run the ball inside between the tackles. We're not going to smash our head trying to see if we can root out these two first-round tackles. We're going to try to get them to where either one of them's worn down, one of them's out of the game, or both of them are worn down, or both of them are out of the game. So the difference is, though, that's when you get back into some Ohio State personnel. They've got enough new personnel that I don't know if you've got those kind of matchups yet. So I think it's more dependent on how confident is Sark in certain aspects of his team. Like, I go back to the Sugar Bowl against Washington. At that point in time, and this is why I'll die on the Jonathan Brooks hill, Sark just wasn't that confident in what C.J. Baxter and Jaden Blue brought to the table at that point. And then when they fumbled, it was almost like a self-fulfilling prophecy, or just, confirmation bias. Like, see, I told you, I can't handle the ball to the young backs. We got to throw the ball if we're going to win this game. So who does Sark trust at this point? Now, I feel like Jerry, at this point, he trusts C.J. Baxter. I think he trusts Trey Wisner. I feel like he trusts Ryan Wingo. I feel like even he's probably got trust for Jack injuries. And I think injuries, Rod, we talked about it on Football Theory this week. I think the tight ends in this game are fascinating. But I think for Texas moving the football, it's all about who does Sark trust right now, which may be different from how it is middle of the season, the A&M game, into the postseason. But who does he trust right now? That's who we'll see featured.
It's a great point. Because the Michigan game, you had so many pieces that I think you did trust. I mean, you had a third-year starter in Quinn. You can kind of give the offense to him. You had some veterans, guys who have played a lot of college football with that group. So that's interesting. All right, let's get to our first sponsor, and then we'll get to the Super Chats. I see the Super Chats lining up, so we'll get to questions and Super Chats. But first, let's thank our friends over at the Co-op. We appreciate our friends over at the Co-op very much, doing a great – matter of fact, we'll be there live for the Texas home games. We'll be there on every Friday during our live stream from the Co-op. We had a great time last year. Looking forward to that. But thanks to our sponsors, the University of Texas Co-op and 40 Acres Apparel. My 40 Acres Apparel, man, I wore a ton of them while we were actually on the Texas tour. Got a lot of compliments from folks about my 40 Acres Apparel. The University of Texas Co-op is a nonprofit and has been serving the Longhorn community since 1896. Every penny of profit directly benefits course material scholarships. In fact, over 9,000 students will receive course material scholarships this academic year, courtesy of our good friends over at the Texas Co-op. The 40 Acres Apparel, great brand, as I was telling you about, and they sell it at the Co-op, was born inside DKR, designed and built exclusively for the University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. Go down to the University of Texas Co-op or go to universityoftexascoop.com and get geared up with 40 Acres Apparel. Great designs, fashionable with high quality, SPF 50, moisture wicking. It's an amazing product. I've been wearing, actually before I even started working with On Texas Football, I was wearing 40 Acres Apparel. Great on the game days. I'm a sweater, guys. I sweat, especially out there in the heat. Once I start, I can't stop. But the 40 Acres Apparel keeps me cool, so I can look cool and look my best, and feel my best, so I can root on the Longhorn. So you look great, you feel great. 40 Acres Apparel, also a proud sponsor, the course material scholarship for UT students over at the University of Texas Co-op. Thank you very much to our good friends over there, and can't wait to join them this season. All right, let's get to
the collars, man. They have the great collars.
Collar integrity. Jerry's right about the collar integrity. Yep, that's a
great
good thing.
collar.
All right, let's get to the Super Chats here, guys. I appreciate your patience. Freelance Society, great to see you at that the Austin, Texas tour stop. We appreciate you coming out. It says, great meeting you guys in Austin. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you as well. And
great to meet you.
Throwing this out there, and I haven't got a chance to check it out yet, but I'm looking forward to it. My man, Freelance Society, yes, has his own YouTube channel, but started a newer YouTube channel. So I want to make sure I give him some props. I'll find it here in a second, and I'll give you guys a little recommendation for some real journalism, because he does a great job. Freelance Society.
Jerry, I told Freelance Society we were having a conversation that devolved into a nice Andrew Luck chat.
Yes,
and you were sitting a few feet away. I said, "Hey, if you'll talk about some Andrew Luck, that's your guy right over there."
Don't get me started. He went to Freelance Society, went to high school at Stratford with Andrew Luck and is friends with Andrew Luck. So we do not need to revisit that one today.
I would say, I don't know when the Andrew Luck conversation came up, and I must have missed it, but I remember asking Jerry on the panel who his Arch Manning comp was, because we were talking about the Ed Orgeron, I believe, had mentioned that he thought Joe Burrow, at least Arch Manning, was the closest thing to Joe Burrow since Joe Burrow. And Jerry said Andrew Luck.
That's who he's always been for me. Andrew Luck is was a better athlete than you would give him credit for, right? I mean, I'm going back and looking at his numbers from his combine or his pro days, and I thought I had it, but now it's like not there. I'll find it. But Andrew Luck was, I think he ran 4.59.
I think you're right. It was him because I remember him and Cam Newton kind of ran a closer time.
Yeah, I mean he ran 4.59. And that was a huge time because he was faster. He tested better than people thought. And I'm trying to find his numbers coming out. 6'4", 234, 10-inch hands, 4.67 was his official 40 time at 234, a 1.62 split, 6'8 L cone, 4.28 shuttle, 36 vertical, 10.4 broad jump. I suspect so it's a lot of it's a size athleticism combo. We'll see on the actual where Arch goes as a player in the games this year. But I think from a physical standpoint, I think there's a lot of similarities. And if Arch, if he performs like we think he can over time, I think there's going to be some Andrew Luck comparisons to him when it rolls around draft time. I really think that's where it could head with Arch Manning. And I always have since high school. I threw out Andrew Luck with him in high school after seeing him in person. And I think testing numbers are going to be pretty similar. Arch may be faster. Rod, I mean, Arch may run in the 4.5s when that time comes if he runs at a pro day. But I think 6'4", 230-ish, I think they're going to be very similar. Hand size is going to be similar. I'm guessing the testing numbers will be similar. We'll see. Look, for Texas fans, if Arch Manning plays to the level Andrew Luck did, and he's going to have a lot better talent around than Luck had, then Texas is going to be playing 17 games.
You got to remember before Andrew Luck retired and when he was coming out in the draft, and again, he retired early, the talk was a lot of people said, hey, maybe he's the best quarterback prospect to come into the NFL since Peyton Manning did in 98 when Andrew Luck came out in 2012. Jerry, where Arch has always reminded me of Andrew Luck. I'll never forget this. Like, it's funny like what you remember when you're in this business this long. But one of the first All-American Bowl practices I ever went to was when Luck was in the game in 2008.
Yeah.
And the three quarterbacks for the West squad were Dane Christ, who I thought was a really good athlete at the position, Blaine Gabbert, who you could see the upside, and Luck. And my takeaway from watching Luck was like, it was almost boring watching him because like it's so smooth. It's like everything is just so well timed and perfect that it almost bores you. That's kind of when I watch Arch practice. Like it's almost like, okay, like like it's meeting my expectations, yet it's like it's boring to watch.
He's a big fundamental. He's the Tim Duncan of
yeah. It really is. Yeah, like there's nothing like there's not that kind of wow get you moment. It's like, man, this guy's really, really good and really, really clean and almost too clean. So yeah, that's where I've compared Arch to Andrew Luck for me.
I love it. That's good stuff. Shout out to Freelance Society Front Sight. Shout out Front Sight. Check out Front Sight Media. He does a good job there with some of his real journalism and travels across the world covering some of the hot topics. All right, let's get to another super chat here. Joshy Manning, we appreciate you coming. Hey, great meeting you too. It was a fantastic meeting. I'm sorry we couldn't hang out for longer. I know you had stuff going on, brand new dad, and we were trying to get around and meeting everybody, but it was great to hang out with you for a little while, Joshy. He says, the closer we're getting to this game, are you getting more confident or more concerned? That's kind of how I started the show. I love it, man.
Yeah, for me, I'm a little more concerned because I want to see where Trevor Goosby's at and where this look, if his health isn't where it needs to be, then that's a concern going into this game. I mean, it's for me. So until I know we hear next week, midweek, where this is at with Trevor Goosby and this offensive line, if they're going to have to shuffle things around, that's a big one for me. So I'm a little more concerned than I was prior to scrimmage 2.
Yep.
Yeah. I just keep going back to Sark. I think this is a Sark game all the way. Like we talked about it earlier with who does he trust right now. I think from that standpoint, just off from an offensive play calling standpoint, too, Rod, I think it's his patience. Like, yeah, we know he's probably gonna have to feel some things out. How patient is he gonna be? I think I saw somebody in the chat, and I know there's been a big conversation about this too over on TexasFootball.com on a message board over there. Like, is Sark going to call this game a little more conservative? I don't think conservative is the right word. I just think, is he going to get impatient at some point and try to force something, or is he just going to kind of let the game kind of come to him, come to Arch, really feel things out? So I trust Sark a lot more doing that now than I did a couple of years ago. But still, you always wonder. Like, in other words, guys, it's not a talent thing for me that concerns me in this game. It's a game management deal more than anything.
Yeah, that's a good one. It's and Josh, I'm concerned, but not because of any actual real tangible substantive reason to be concerned. I'm just a player. From a player standpoint, the closer I get to the game, I'm just thinking about all the different, kind of matchup things that could go wrong. And I like to make sure I got a plan for everything, which is never going to happen. But by the end of next week, I guarantee I'll be confident again, because I'll do my research and I'll be like, oh yeah, this is how they win. They do this, and I'll give you guys a step by step. You do these 5 things, you're going to win. Like, I know, but still, I haven't done my research yet. So right now I'm still kind of more concerned than confident, but I'll grow confident. The deeper I get into my prep, the more confident I get about the matchup. But thank you, Josh. Great to meet you. And great. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that. Colin here says over under for Arch versus Ohio State, 250 passing yards, 3 total touchdowns, 50 rushing yards. So,
well, let's hope it's under 50 rushing yards.
Yeah.
I don't want him to have to run the football that much, honestly. And he's not going to break a 70-yarder against that defense. So if he has 50 rushing yards, he's probably tucked it too much in this game for my liking. I think he needs to be in that 225, 250 passing yards number. I think the over-under is 239.5. I think he needs to be over, closer to 250 for Texas. I really believe, guys, if he's in that 225, I said that first thing wrong, 225, 250, I think he needs to be over the 239. If he's in the 225 range, puts a lot of pressure on the Texas run game for me.
I feel confident he'll get there, Jerry. So I would go over on the passing yards, under on the total touchdowns and rushing yards. I said it on a preview show, and I feel more confident in my belief as we get closer to game time. I think this is going to be ugly. I think it's going to be a low scoring. I'm pretty close to saying first 1 to 20 wins. Like, I think it's going to be that kind of ugly, just fist fight, barroom brawl of a game.
I think that's the way the game, and that's what my point was earlier, Rod. I think that's the way the game may go unless there's coverage bust. Was coverage bust on either side in this game, or strike up the band touchdowns, right, with the receivers in this game?
Yeah.
But I think it's going to be that more of that type of game that Jeff is saying, unless there's the pick six, the kick return, special teams blunder that's going to expand the score. I don't think the offense versus defense portion of this game is going to be a high-scoring game for either team. I think it will have to come from things outside of that to get the number high.
Yeah, no, I'm not expecting a real high-scoring shootout performance by any team, because I don't expect Ohio State's offense to be able to move the ball that frequently against the Texas defense, and the Texas offense with offensive line issues and a brand new starter in their quarterback, even though obviously he's Arch Manning, and on the road as well. I expect them to have the offense to stall every now and then. I hope it doesn't start with the stall, but I can see that offense stalling every now and then, especially with CJ Baxter not being a totally 100% already, to give you variety in the run game. So I think Sark might lean on the defensive special teams. You build game plans based on strengths, and there's certain things that travel in football. Defense travels, and I think they hope their running game, if they got it, travels. But I'm not 100% sure it will. I mean, we don't necessarily know that. We can hope that it'll travel, but last year in big games, Texas running game, not in all their big games, didn't necessarily bring a balance to the offense, and you don't have 100%, CJ Baxter. I don't know how much of a pitch count he's going to be on either. So I'll take the over on the passing yards. I'll take that easy. Rushing yards, I'm with Jerry. I don't know if I think he's going to scramble though, guys. I think he's going to. I don't know how many is too many scrambles for you, Jerry. If he scrambles, if is 4 scrambles too many?
No, but I think to get against this defense to get put up 50 rushing yards, he's probably, whether it's pressured plays under duress, you're probably looking at 12 attempts, and that's too much for me.
Oh yeah,
That's what I was thinking, Jerry. Between scrambles and whatever he gets on design runs,
he's going to get sacked in this game. So take whatever your rushing yards is, take 15 and say, okay, it's actually 65 because he's going to lose. He's going to get sacked probably more than once in this game.
Between
so 2 to 3 sacks and you lose 15 to 20 yards, that means you got to rush for 70. Yeah. I don't want him carrying the ball that much.
Now, if we're talking official rushing attempts, I don't want him to be more than 12. I want him to be in that 8, in that sacks, rushing attempts, scrambles, everything. I want him to be like in that 9 to 12 range. For me is kind of the sweet spot.
Yeah. I don't want him scrambling too much, but I do want him to use them legs when he needs to, and get down. And he said last time he talked to Grandpa, he said every time he talks to him, like, get down and protect yourself.
Hey, real quick, Rod, if I'm doing props, or side bets for this game, Jack Bowmeister's probably going to punt the ball more next Saturday than he will in the other 3 non-conference games combined.
Potentially.
That's not a bad thing, Jerry, because we've heard all camp. That's been one of the constant things about this team. Like, hey, Bowmeister's a difference maker. They're going to be able to rely on punt. With as good as your defense is, if you got a punter that can legitimately help you flip the field and control field position, that matters a ton in games like this.
Which is why I can see Sark saying, not like you said, not being conservative, but kind of feeling out the opponent because he has the luxury of it because of the defense and special teams. He can just be winning those battles and still gaining, winning the field position battle and hitting yardage. All right, good question there. Let's go to Rapid Calm here. Thank you for the super chat, Rapid Calm. He says, other prospects to look for in high school games on TV tonight.
Yeah, Diabelle's at 6 p.m. Eastern on ESPN. They're playing St. Joe's out of Philly. St. Joe's has a defensive tackle that's going to Penn State. They have a couple of 2027s, but American Heritage has the receiver Brandon Bennett, who's going to Florida State. They have a couple other wideouts who are D1 kids on that team, a couple of defensive backs who will be D1 kids on that team, some younger guys. But your main guys in that game are Diabelle going to Texas, Brandon Bennett, his top receiver, going to Florida State, and the defensive lineman from St. Joe's going to Penn State. Those are your top 3. Saturday night, that Chaminade, Madonna, Derek Cooper game versus St. Francis. St. Francis has about they're loaded. I mean, Chaminade Madonna's up against it in that game, just being real. If Derek Cooper gets 100 in that game, he is something else because you have all the defensive linemen for St. Francis, 5-star edge, number of defensive backs and linebackers. I think they may have 9 or 10 D1 guys starting on defense for St. Francis. So if Coop gets 100 in that game, he's done something because that's going to be tough sledding.
Hey, Jerry, real quick, what high school does Derek Cooper play for again?
Chaminade Madonna, baby.
Yeah, say that 5 times fast. All right. All right. Thanks for that question. That was a good one. Appreciate it. Rocky P with another super chat here. Thank you, Rocky P. We appreciate it. Says, is there any update on the Texas run scheme? Hope we are able to do more than just outside zone this year. Thank you,
Rod, you have to break down to that. I know probably as far as percentages, but I'll lead you into it. They're going to run more gap and power schemes this year. I fully 100% believe that. So what was, did they lean on outside zone as much as maybe we think last year in terms of percentage of run? But I do think they're changing it up a little bit this year. It's going to be some gap and power this year. mixed in for sure.
Yeah, they were top 10 in the country in outside zone runs, like outside zone run rate. And Trey Wiseman was top 10 in the country, according to Pro Football Focus, in rushing yards on outside zones. So they ran it quite a bit. And it's not that they didn't have a diverse running game. It's not like they just ran outside zone over and over again. Now, I guess Clemson they did, and Clemson just couldn't stop it. But they had variety in the run game. It's just that was their bread. But that's what they did better than any other run concept. And I think a lot of it because of injuries at the running back position and with Trey Wiseman's vision and his patience and his burst, I think it kind of fits that outside zone run concept and their offensive line. I mean, I talked about it. They were big humans last year, but they were finesse humans. They were better in the zone blocking run scheme, the nuances of that, highly intellectual offensive line when it comes to like playing bully ball and just being able to move other human beings, against their will, short yardage, and those types of power situations. Texas wasn't necessarily, in my opinion, there wasn't a strength of theirs. And I think with this new offensive line, it's possible that they could, like Jerry says, start running more gap and power schemes. Two reasons, because Cedric Baxter and Jerry Gibson, the last 2 years, so prior to the Cedric Baxter injury last year, but they were two of the only running backs, all right, in the Sark tenure at Texas to finish with more gap power runs than zone runs. So they want to run downhill with those guys. You want to get Cedric Baxter running downhill as soon as possible. So it's possible it translates for a younger, inexperienced offensive line a little bit better too. Or some of the complexity of a zone blocking scheme can be a little bit too much for a young offensive line while they're trying to gain continuity and chemistry. So sometimes it's easier to go. You said, dude, right in front of you, just go whoop this. You know what? Can you do that? It's like I can actually do that, and that's what Ohio State actually did last year. When they had all the injuries on the offensive line, they went to gap power schemes like 75% of the time. It was crazy. And Texas last year, probably during their last 7-8 games, they probably were a 60 plus percent zone blocking scheme. But Sark usually over the entire season, he has balance. He's usually about 55% zone blocking and about 45% gap power. But I agree with Jerry. I think that changes now. Cedric Baxter being healthy is a big part of it.
Hey guys, I just want to say I got to get running a little early today. I got my timing for this, but everybody have a good weekend. We're going to come back Saturday. I'm going to come back Saturday and kind of review Dia Bell's game from a recruiting standpoint. And we'll have a bunch of stuff this weekend, but thank you to everybody for the continued support of OTF.
Thanks, Jerry. You're the man, brother. All right. Let's get back to the super chats because we got a bunch of them. That was a good one, Rocky B. How about this one from Mike? Mike, thank you for the super chat. He says, call it now. You, Jeff, first play from scrimmage in the game.
Something to get the ball to Ryan Wingo on the perimeter. Get Arch a high percentage pass. Get the ball to your best playmaking wide receiver. I think it's something to Wingo on the perimeter.
Yeah, could be that. Now, could be one of those just simple split zone RPOs with the tag.
There. The first, it's cliche to say first down is like winning first down is big in this game, right? It's paramount for Texas though, because offensively, we talk about them being a third down offense. Man, Sark doesn't want to get the third down. This has been one of, if not the best offense in college football the last 2 years at the percentage of first downs that they make on first and second down.
Yeah.
So they just the best way, the best third down offense is to just not get in the third down situations. But on defense, man, you want them in third and medium or longer. Because if it is, the more predictable the third down is, the more, and I think that'll play into a question that Cade's got in the super chat too. If you can get them in the third and long and kind of unleash the dogs, unleash hell, let the hounds loose, then that's advantage you. That's advantage Texas all day long on third and long on defense.
You brought it up, so let's get to it. I think it's a nice segue. Oh, you know what, Mike? I'll give you my first play. I like what Jeff said, dude. So it could be that bootleg, waggle concept we've seen from Arch Manning when he comes in, and it's like a layered concept. where they have a crossing route, kind of a deep over route behind it, giving him the option to run it or to throw it. To Jeff's point, it's usually an easy completion because it's just a simple drag route. It's an easy read for him. The linebacker comes up to the drag, boom, throw it behind the linebacker. If the linebacker drops back and covered, boom, throw it to the underneath route there. And we've seen that like twice. Like within the first couple of plays, Arch comes in the game, gets Arch on the move, gets his blood flowing a little bit. We'll be surprised to see that one too. And it's nice play action, first down. And Sark usually likes to go with a lot of his play action stuff on first down there. So throw that out.
I love you gave me the quote, Rod, several years ago about play action pass, why you should do it early. The defense doesn't know your run game sucks or not.
Man, for real, jump on it.
You don't know if your run game is bad or not early in the game. So
they respecting it still.
Yeah.
But, oh, you know what? Yeah, you know what? I wonder in this game, man, if you'll do it early, like go into center and do an old school play action. I know it's risky, but in this game, I wonder if you'll suck those safeties up. Nobody sees that in college anymore. You just don't really see it. No. And like you said, everybody will be thinking run early on. I wonder if that's something Sark does.
And, even if Ohio State ends up, if Devin Sanchez starts or plays a lot at corner, the freshman from North Shore, an elite talent, but that freshman doesn't know where you're going. You do. So if you want to throw a double move at him, a little sluggo or whatever, then I'd try to get him early.
Man, to that point, Sark's gonna come out. Remember, Sark went after Caleb Downs when he was a freshman. And you know what? If Texas puts out Grayson Littleton in that secondary, you for damn sure that Ohio State.
Oh yeah, I'm checking. If I'm Julian saying I'm checking, I'm moving Jeremiah in, and I'm sending him deep.
Yeah,
that was that touchdown of Xavier Worthy against Bama. It's like, yeah, Caleb Downs, you're a good player. Go run with the fastest man in the history of the combine.
Exactly.
Go see if you can stay with him because you can't.
No, that's to be interesting. That'll be, like I said, there'll be a lot of adjusting early on just because of the uncertainty in the game, and that'll be something you're adjusting to as well. You see either team, have a freshman out there in the secondary. Oh, it's time to go to work, or that freshman is about to make a lot of money in the future if they hold up well in this game in attack, because they will make a name for themselves. Because there will be every NFL scout that really has any kind of credibility is going to be watching this game and doing their homework. All right, Kate here with a super chat says, how much playing time does Justice Terry see this season? Such a tough position to play early. Also awesome meeting you last night, Rod. Hashtag DBU. Kate, thank you for the super chat and great meeting you too. We really appreciate you guys coming out. What are your thoughts about playing time for Justice Terry? That NASCAR package is a great way to get a freshman on the field because everybody is single-minded in the NASCAR package. They're throwing the football. It's a predictable passing situation, and all we want is coverage specialists and pass rushers on the field. And Justice Terry, is he one of your better pass rushers to put out there? That's kind of the question. I mean, that's what kind of luxury you got. You're not even sure if one of the best young players coming out as a high school prospect is one of your better pass rushers at this point. You stockpile so many.
Because I don't think he's going to redshirt. I think you'll see him play the most snaps he'll log this season, at least in the regular season, are probably going to be the 3 games after the Ohio State game. In other words, they'll kind of gauge where he's at those 3 non. I think that's going to be the case with a lot of the young guys. Kind of gauge where they're at those 3 non-conference games because you're developing talent. And then I think after that, you'll start to see his snaps. They'll get him a baseline against Florida, and then you'll see it increase after that. So, I mean, if he's in if when the dust settles, if he's in the probably 10 to 12 snaps a game, somewhere like that, then on this defensive line, that probably tells you he had a pretty good freshman season.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on that. This season, like I said, if he can crack that NASCAR package, I think that'd be good for him. But I believe by the end of the season, Sark wants maybe those guys. What did Alex January get by the end of the last season? Like in the Ohio State game, did he get like 8 to 10 snaps?
Yeah. I think his whole body of work, and there were some games he didn't play, so it wasn't like a full games. He's about 9 snaps a game, 8, 9, somewhere like that.
So maybe you want Justice Terry. Can he give you 12 to 10 to 12 snaps? Like, I'm talking about just all the games are critical down the stretch. So down the stretch, can he give you that many per game? Quality reps.
For me, the big thing with him is in the non-conference play when he's probably going to play more base defense. What position does he settle into? Because we know in the NASCAR package they're going to have specialized stuff for him.
Yeah,
but in terms of his long-term growth and development, like where do they see him fitting in?
Yeah, I almost wonder if you'll see a little base personnel from, or at least forcing with like 12 personnel teams in this matchup versus Texas Ohio State, forcing the opposing team to use their base personnel, or see if they'll go with nickel to match up with it, and see if that gives you some type of advantage either in the run game, of course, and being able to kind of match up with them in a better way, or let's take some of their speed off the field. I wonder if Ohio State will do that. I'm still thinking about, because you made me start thinking about the Max Clare impact.
Mm-hmm.
We did football theory, and I was like, I would see how Texas handles 12. They keep that nickel out there without a Jade. Now, if it's a Jelani McDonald nickel, then we got a big nickel, then that's different. Or if it's somebody.
I like where you're going, Rod, and this is why you do all that stuff in the offseason. This is why you move Trey Moore to off-ball linebacker. This is why you're excited about the development of Ty Anthony Smith. Like, okay, if they want to line up in 12 personnel, great. Texas can line up in 40 personnel and still be able to compete with people on a down-to-down basis.
Yeah.
If you're, then it doesn't matter what combination of three you got. If it's Smith, LaFau, and Hill, Moore, and LaFau, Hill, Smith, and LaFau, like whatever combination you want to use, you can have three. You can run three linebacker personnel and still make it work.
Yeah, can't wait to see what the adjustment is. Let's thank another sponsor before we move on. Thanks to our friends over at Hartgrove Roofing. Hartgrove Roofing have offices all over Texas, Louisiana, and Arkansas, but they are the most pro-burnt orange roofing company out there. They have partnerships with my former teammate, lifetime Longhorns like Stevie Lee and others, and they do a great job, folks. So if you have any concerns about your roof, if it's been too long since you have had a roof inspection, maybe you can't remember the last time your roof was inspected, maybe you recently had some severe weather in your area, maybe there's damage to your roof, leave it to the folks over at Hartgrove Roofing, folks. You can reach out to them today at 512-645-3202, and you can actually get a free roof inspection today from our friends at Hartgrove Roofing. That's hartgroveroofing.com. Really appreciate them. They also sponsor our friend Stevie Lee coming on to the Winnie Drive every Monday, so we appreciate them very much, and thanks for sponsoring our Friday live stream. All right, let's get back to some questions here. How about this one here from Buddy Pal, Chief Big Guy? Always has some good questions. He says, with points at a premium, will Sark opt more for field goals versus going for it in the plus 25 to 35-yard territory against Ohio State?
Remember I talked about trust earlier in the show?
It's interesting.
Does he trust those kickers right now? That to me is what that all boils down to. And I'm not saying he doesn't, but I don't know that he does right now.
And he's got some baggage from his old kicker. He's got some trust issues with kickers from his old kicker, Bert Arbor, who's a little bit inconsistent. So that's a great point. I like that term thrown out there, Jeff. I don't think I've heard anybody talk about it in regards to this matchup, but trust would start play a huge role with so many new pieces. All right, thanks for that, Big Pal, Buddy Pal, Chief Big Guy. I think Sark will lean. I said this earlier. I think he's going to lean on what he knows for sure. What does he know for sure? His defense is going to be pretty good. Will they be the best defense in college football and an elite defense like they were last year, or be better than last year? That's all up for discussion. They're gonna be damn good. Robert Thompson, special teams decides this game. Hook 'em. Thank you, Robert, for the super chat. Very kind of you. And I said, and Texas upgraded significantly at special teams. Like, I mean, they got Bo Meester, they got Shipley, and from what I'm hearing, Jeff Banks has kind of revamped the coverage teams too. Yeah. And I wonder how much Coach Aquina is going to play a role in those coverage teams. When I was there, Coach Aquina played a huge role because a lot of those coverage teams were DBs. He insisted on it because probably have the best athletic profiles and frames for coverage units overall, especially some of these safeties. I mean, you got some of these freshmen like Zealous Hicks, some of these guys, Cade Phillips, like these long, rangy freaks. I mean, these guys should be some of your aces on special teams too. We talk about that gunner situation. I would be disappointed if one of them young DBs don't step up and try to take some of those reps at gunner too. So special teams, if it does decide the game, hopefully Texas upgrading their special teams, Robert, is the reason that Texas ends up winning the game.
Yeah, you just can't do what it did last year, which it can't be feast or famine. You got to have a baseline in the kicking game. You got to be able to rely on it. Like it just wasn't none of it was reliable last year. Punt, field goal, even your return game was. I mean it was an adventure every time. I love Silas Bolden, but man, it was an adventure. You held your breath every time he was back trying to field a punt because. Silas Bolden's one of those guys that played on the edge.
Yeah, he was fearless.
The thing about guys that play on the edge and play fearless, sometimes they may slip and go over the cliff. Yeah, it just needs to be steadier this year. That's all. Yep.
No, I agree with you. I think it'll be, like I said, Jeff Banks had one down year. I mean, even in 2021, when every other phase was letting down, special teams was actually your best phase. So nobody cared or talked about it. So I think Jeff Banks had one down year. I think he's going to be refocused this year. I think the special teams is going to be an asset once again, too. All right. Thanks for the super chat. We appreciate that one. How about this one from Texas Chick 01? Now that you all have been out and seen the fans, are you sure this is still the job for y'all? Indeed, actually confirmed it. Y'all my people. All right. A lot of nerd talk about football and a lot of, obviously hearkening back to, I'll say good old days, but what we hope to see once again. All right, the good days when Texas football is competing for championships year after year. So, hey, I actually enjoyed myself too much. Like I said, my voice. I got to drink some tea or something. Talk to Craig Way about how to keep my voice back for game week. But had a lot of fun in Austin and Houston and Dallas. Thank you guys for coming out, man.
I'll tell you one thing though, Rod. Especially after the Houston stop, Austin was great. As great as Austin was, H-Town might have been better. H-Town really showed out for us.
They did.
I appreciate the fact that, like, now knowing that the Longhorn Blitz podcast did what I kind of hoped it would do, which was through the dark years, we were everybody's therapist. Like, hey, lay down on the couch. We'll talk you through this. We'll all discuss it. We'll break this thing apart, and we're all gonna be okay. We'll get through it. We got through it. And we're out on the other side enjoying life now.
And at least one of us, Jeff or I, usually Matt was usually the most composed, but Jeff or I would have a rant after one of those epic losses or after a meltdown on Saturday. One of us would come in there ready to have, and it wouldn't be intentional. We're not trying to rant.
No, it ain't my fault. Brian Harsin didn't have the ball in the right hash mark to get Marquise Goodwin in the game, or Todd Orlando blew the ending drive against West Virginia at home. That's not my fault.
Oh man,
I'm just reacting to someone else's aggression.
My point is, it was therapeutic for us too. We needed it. It was cathartic for us. But thank you guys for that. And yes, that there have been discussions. I'll just say that there have been discussions about the blitz. All right, I'll just let you guys know that. And I haven't had any discussions, but I can almost guarantee you we're going to do the Texas tour again next year. It was such a success. So thanks to you guys for helping with that. All right, how about this one from Connor? Connor here says Simmons over under 1.5 sacks on sand. Had 2 sacks last year. The team did, not him, against Ohio State in the playoffs. That's a lot. I mean, he is right now considered to be the best defensive end in the country. He ain't catching anybody by surprise. If he does get 1.5 sacks, I wouldn't be shocked, but Ohio State's going to do everything in their power to show him all the attention he deserves. So he's going to get chipped, and I would have a check where I could find out where he is in case Texas has him up in a 2-point and wants to move him around, where I can move my H back, or I can change my protection, or let my running back know, like, hey, I need you to go chip that guy. I would have certain checkpoints, all right, kind of built into the game plan, where it's like, no, now we know what Colin Simmons is. Do we have the proper protection? All right, we got him. Okay, I'm sure there is something like that, but he's a brand new quarterback, and who knows, with all the moving pieces, as we've talked about, all the cross training and multiplicity, if he gets lost, I could see it. I think they want to move him around for him to get that 1.5 sacks, though.
Michael Taft, sorry, Rod, I didn't mean to cut you off. Michael Taft made a great point the other day when he was up at the mic for a post-practice availability. He talked about playing on the road, and he said, as a defensive guy, I like it because the stadium, they're going to be quiet for their offense.
Mm-hmm.
So it's easier for us to communicate. It's easier for us to get a beat on the snap count, hear the snap count, everything else. He's like, so for a defensive player, playing on the road is great. And I'm thinking about that. Like, yeah, if Colin Simmons can actually hear the snap count, anticipate it, use that ball get off, I would. It's going to benefit him. I'm going to take the under because I'm with you. I think we will not see teams play Colin Simmons the same way they played him last year. It's just not going to happen. If they do, then they've either got Orlando Pace at offensive tackle or some offensive coordinator is probably getting fired at the end of the year, like one or the other. But if he goes over, that means Texas won the game and probably convincingly, because if he's over that, then that means Ohio State was forced to throw the football way more than they wanted to.
I agree with that. I'll take the under 2, Connor, right now. I think he's going to get so much attention. And they have the capability to not neutralize him, but at least make it really difficult for him to make some of those splash plays. All right, let's thank our friends over at Von Lane before we move on and answer some more questions. Thank you to our friends at Von Lane. By the way, they were our traveling sponsor for our Texas tour with our friends over at Third Longhorn. So we really appreciate our friends over at Von Lane. And you've had to travel between the major Texas cities, right? Getting to Houston, getting to San Antonio, Dallas, getting to Fort Worth, getting to Austin. And it's a bit of a toss-up. Do you deal with the airport chaos and hope your flight isn't delayed? Or do you brace yourself for hours behind the wheel, battling traffic, burning an entire day of productivity? Well, the third option is a much better option, folks. It is our friends over at Von Lane. You arrive at a luxury hotel terminal. There are no TSA lines, no long-term parking lots, just a seamless boarding experience that takes minutes, not hours. You settle into one of just 22 oversized first-class plush leather seats with 140-degree recline leg rest and a cabin attendant serving complimentary snacks, beverages, and on select trips, a full meal if you need it. And if you need to relax, well, pretty simple. Lean back and enjoy the ride. But if you want to stay productive, there'll be high-speed Wi-Fi and power at every seat. Fall travel is booking fast. Reserve your spot now. The October trips to Texas versus Oklahoma in Dallas, F1 and ACL in Austin, or college football weekends in Nashville, Dallas, Fort Worth, and Houston. That's right. Von Lane connects all of them now. Austin, Dallas, Houston, Fort Worth, San Antonio, Nashville, Atlanta, Memphis, Knoxville, the Woodlands, and Plano. Yeah, they keep adding more and more destinations to this list. So visit vonlane.com and use the code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. Von Lane, elevated regional bus transportation. And I got a lot of compliments, and people were thanking me because I was one of the people that suggested to the Third and Longhorn guys that they should take the Von Lane. And the guys were texting me, thanking me, man. It's a great recommendation. We love the Von Lane. I'm going to take it again. My man Jay Hills took it. Fozzie Whitaker was on the Von Lane too. So guys had a great time on the Von Lane, man. I suggest it for you too. If you got to travel to any of those major Texas cities and you just want to sit back and enjoy the ride for a change rather than deal with road rage, you can do that with our friends over at Von Lane. Thank you very much to Von Lane for sponsoring our Friday live stream and for being our traveling sponsor for our Texas tour.
Hey, Rod, can I make a point real quick? Go back to the Collins deal real quick. I just think we all need to remember, like, how difficult it is to pile up sack numbers. Like, how, like, the accomplishment, the achievement, like, he got to 9 last year. Yep. Phenomenal year. There's a reason why double-digit sacks is, like, it's a benchmark. Like, it's you had a special year if you got there. Jackson Jeffcoat in 2013 was the last Texas guy that did it. So nobody in this program, and there's been some great pass rushers in this program, nobody's gotten double-digit sacks since he did it in 2013. So don't get caught up. If he goes under on that 1.5 against Ohio State, that doesn't mean he can't impact the game, because if he's getting the pressure and forcing a bad throw that leads to a turnover or leads to a failed third down conversion or a forced incompletion or whatever, then he's very much impacting the game, even though the sack numbers might not be there. Because I know, Rod, I just know it's going to happen. There's going to be somebody on that defensive front or in the linebacker core, that's Anthony Hill or Trey Moore. We're going to get to like game 4 or 5, and Sark is going to be asked, well, why doesn't so-and-so have more sacks? What's going on? Mm-hmm. And if you watch, there's not going to be anything wrong. They're probably impacting the game on every snap, but the sack numbers aren't there. So it goes beyond the sack numbers for pass rushers making an impact.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. And it is. It ain't easy to get them. Sometimes you can end up getting the sack, but you necessarily make the play. You just benefited from the sack. And I think because of Colin Simmons' impact, he's a force multiplier. A lot of guys are going to be able to benefit from the gravity he's going to have, attracting offensive linemen, double teams, hell, maybe even triple teams. Everybody else is going to get one-on-one blocking, and they should be able to win those. So that's the impact. The impact will be felt like that for Jeremiah Smith too. I mean, when Jeremiah Smith is on the field, Texas, they'll be gravity. They'll roll coverage, shade coverage. They'll open up the passing game for other guys, and they'll end up with more favorable matchups. I mean, that's football in a nutshell.
And like, if I'm Carnell Tate or Brandon Ennis, I love having Jeremiah Smith on my team, because that means I'm gonna get single covered more often than not.
All the damn time. All the damn time, man.
Max Clare. Like, there's gonna be some guys on that Ohio State offense that put up some numbers this year. I know they always do, but trust me, like, you'll look at the end of the year, like, man, Carnell Tate had that many catches, Brandon Ennis had that many targets. Yeah.
No, Julian Sands should have a good year. Just I don't think it's gonna be against Texas. All right. Jared here says, what does everyone think of Paul Feinbaum's recent comments about Texas versus Ohio State? Yeah, I didn't hear him, but I did see him on social media. Basically, I'm just paraphrasing. Didn't he basically say it's not going to be close, right? Texas is going to beat the hell out of Ohio State. Is that what he said?
Make
sure I got it right here. I believe
while you're looking for that, right, I'll say this. I turn 42 next month, and I'm just at the point in my life where the soundbite, the juicy soundbite created through the sports media industrial complex, as you put it, I'm just done with it. Like, Feinbaum wants people to react. He wants to get you to react. And if you want to take the bait, fine. But other than when, I know I did the deal this summer with Dog Nation. So people are like, Jeff, you're talking on both sides of your mouth. Like, maybe, but Texas roster is better. And I think Ohio State is going to be hungover from last year. The first part of that is true. It's debatable, but yes, you can make the argument Texas has a better roster. I've said I really believe top to bottom is the best roster in the country. The Ohio State being hungover from last year, I don't think it's that as much as it is. There's so much change that program has gone through with the coordinator changes and breaking in a new quarterback and the draft losses and everything else, that Ohio State's going to be a much better team by the end of the regular season than the one Texas sees in 8 days, without question. So I don't know. I'm basically, right, what I'm saying is I'm not going to judge Ohio State in 2025 based on what they do or don't do against Texas.
Yeah, I'm not sure about the hangover thing either.
And look,
I understand what he's saying, but I'm with you. I just think, like, man, they lost so much from that team. It's just
and you're gonna get into these insanely idiotic debates too, like, if Texas goes to Columbus and loses, for example, like, that means the Big Ten is that much better than the SEC. No, it doesn't. Because you can look top to bottom. Like, go put Rutgers and go pick the bottom of the Big Ten and put them in the SEC. Let them play that SEC schedule and see what happens. Like, it's my belief the top end of the Big Ten and the top end of the SEC are really freaking good. But then you start going down the list, and the average college football fan can tell you which conference is better. So don't get caught up in these idiotic statements of, oh man, or if Texas wins the game, then the SEC is so much better than the Big Ten. No. That means a really good team from the SEC just beat a really good team from the Big Ten. That's all it means.
That's all it means. Yeah. All right. Thank you for that, Matthew. I appreciate it. That's why you're the best in the business. Let's thank our final sponsor of today's program, our good friends over at the University of Texas Co-op and 40 Acres Apparel. We would like to tell them how much we appreciate them for all their support. Actually, wore a lot of my 40 Acres Apparel on the Texas tour and got a lot of compliments. But the University of Texas Co-op is also a nonprofit that has been serving the Longhorn community since 1896. Every penny of profit directly benefits course material scholarships. In fact, over 9,000 students will receive course material scholarships this academic year. 40 Acres Apparel was born inside DKR Stadium, designed and built exclusively for the University of Texas and Longhorn Nation. I've been wearing 40 Acres apparel for a long time, actually, before I started working with On Texas football. And it's always been my game day fit because it's comfortable. I sweat a lot, so it keeps me cool. All right. So I can look cool, feel good, and root on my Longhorns. You can go down to University of Texas Co-op right now, or you can go to universityoftexascoop.com and get geared up with 40 Acres apparel. Great designs, fashionable, high quality, SPF 50, moisture wicking. It is an amazing product. As my man Jerry mentioned earlier, they got a lot of great collar integrity with their shirts too. Looks great, feels great, and trust me, you will be a fan after you have one game day experience or one of those big game really game weekend experiences wearing 40 Acres apparel, folks. Trust me, it's a great product. Check it out at the University of Texas Co-op. And thank you very much to our friends at the University of Texas Co-op and 40 Acres apparel, which is also a proud sponsor of the course material scholarships for UT students. And by the way, we'll be at the Co-op for our home games during these live streams. And we'll be moving our live streams to, I believe, 3 p.m. if I'm not mistaken.
So, yes.
All right. For those Co-op live streams we're doing there. And it'll be me and Bobby Burton. So we'll be having a lot of fun. Had a lot of fun last year. So come on out if you're in the neighborhood for those home games. We'll be doing the shows live from the Co-op at 3 p.m.
So yeah, all right. This is our last Friday live stream for a while then.
It is. Yeah. This is like the official end of the off season for us as a platform. It's done.
I just want to point this out. Alan Makeda, thank you so much for this comment in the chat. Feinbaum is a dingus. I haven't heard dingus used as an insult in a very, very long time. So thank you, Alan. I really appreciate it.
We should start using dingus more. That's a great term. I love it.
It's one of those terms, Rod, your high school football coaches used to use when they couldn't cuss at you. Like, dingus, what are you doing?
But it sounds more insulting than being cursed out. In my opinion. Sometimes it sounds even dirtier than a curse word for some reason. I probably shouldn't have repeated it. But no, that's great. Thank you to Matthew behind the scenes, always doing a great job. He's a real MVP of this platform. Thank you to all you guys out there for the super chats. Really appreciate you guys and your kindness. And thanks to everyone who came out for the Texas tour, man. It really meant a lot to us. Like I'm still hoarse from it, but it meant a lot to meet you guys, trying to build this community, build this family. And you guys treated us like family, coming on out supporting us. So it meant a lot, and we're going to make sure we do it again. It's going to become an annual thing. So if you didn't get a chance to experience it this time, there'll be plenty of opportunities for you. I can guarantee you that. Also, thank you to our sponsors. Thank you to 40 Acres Apparel. Thank you to University of Texas Co-op. Thank you also to our friends over at Von Lane, vonlane.com. Use the code OTF25 to save $20 off your first ride with Von Lane. And also thank you to Hard Grove Roofing, hardgroveroofing.com. We appreciate all of their support. For Matthew and for Jeff and for all of our sponsors, I'm Lifetime Longhorn Rod Favors. Until next time, hook 'em horns.